Okay, we're beginning Be'ez Hashem Siman Chaf, Vayoel Moshe, Maamar Shevuos, and it's a short Siman, but there's a lot to talk about here. So he says, the subject here, he's trying to prove that the Shevuos Shelo Yalu B'Chayma, going up as a wall, is even with permission from the nation that rules Eretz Yisrael. We're still not allowed to go up. And here's his raya. I don't know if it's the last raya, but it's one of the last rayas. Take a look. Prague, Zal. The Sifroi Netzach Yisrael Perek Chaf Daled. Maharal says in Netzach Yisrael is a Sefer about Golus and the reasons for Golus. So he says there, Shemarich Sham Tuva Bedin Elu HaShevuos, Shaloi L'Shanis Klal Binyan HaGolus. He goes on for a long time about the Shevuos that we're talking about in this Sefer, and the Shevuos tell us not to change, not to reverse exile. And basically the Maharal's point there is that Golus is not a natural thing. Really, naturally, a person should be in, a nation should be in its land. Every nation in the world, you see, they have a land and they live in it. So yes. The Jewish people, to be in exile for so long is against the Teva. So the Maharal says Hashem had to make these oaths to keep things in place, to suspend Teva, to keep Yidden in Golus for so long. And that's the purpose of the Shalosh Shevuos. He says 2 of them are in the Jews, not to go up there, not to rebel, not to make wars. And one of them is on the nations, because the nation's shvur is also not to end the Golus. Because if they persecute us too much, they're also going to bring the end of the Golus before it's time.
Because adding is really a lack, as Maharal says.
Yeah, adding is a lack, but adding too much persecution would mean that we finish Golus too early, and then...
Yeah, because adding is a lack. Of course, Golus slack, meaning to say. I mean, Golus will not be completely the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, so...
Just one question. What's the difference between the Arba Shevuos and Shiur and the Shevuah mentioned in the Gemara?
What do you mean the Arba Shevuos? There's a fourth one, Shiur. There's a one in Perek Hey, right? It says, Im Tinsu is doi yimata.
Which Gemara brings down the end of the Perek.
My secret? No. Oh, so the thing is like this. The 3 Shevuos that we talk about in Ksuvas Daf Kufid Aleph, those are the ones where it says, Yishbati Eschem Elois Yerushalayim, and the
Shiur says, Arba Shevuos Heim. Lama.
In Shiur Rabbah, you mean?
Yeah, Shiur
So
Rabbah.
Wait, so there's a 4th Shevuah that doesn't say Im To'iru V'im To'iru. It doesn't speak about Golus. It just says Im Timtzu is Doidi Ma Tagidu Lai.
Yeah.
So that Shevuah doesn't count in Ksuvas as one of the 3 Shevuos of Golus. And
so how is it distinct than the Shevuah mentioned in the Gemara?
So
the lashon is shali medubromos, v'shali yitchuk as a case, v'shali gusol shalhen, v'shali al b'chom amina gola.
Yeah.
So how are those distinct from what's mentioned in the Gemara?
No, because those are it's counted differently. It's true. There's a different measure that counts the Shevuos differently, and it counts that one in Perek Hey of Shiur as a different Shevuah.
What's the difference? Don't know.
I don't know why the Medrash counts it and the Gemara doesn't count it. Okay. I mean, I would assume that the Gemara doesn't count it because doesn't say Im To'iru V'im To'iru. That's what I would assume. I don't know why the Medrash counts it. That's going to be the kasha. Maybe we'll get to it. I don't know if the Rebbe ever talks about that Medrash. He talks about the Medrash for sure, but I don't know if he talks about why the Medrash brings that Shvuah. Okay. So back to the Rebbe, back to the Vayoel Moshe. So he says, V'siyem levasoif. He ends off there. Lefarish masha amru shishbion b'doyer shel shmad. The Medrash says, what's this mitzvahs of Aylos Hasada? What does it mean that Hashem made the Jews swear by the deer and the gazelles? What do these things have to do with the Shevuah? And we know every Shevuah, every neder is matfis in something. You know, when you make a neder, you say, this is like hektish, this is like a korban. So it sounds like the Shevuah is saying, I'm making you swear by this. Just like this is true, that's also true. That's what the Shevuah is, by definition. So what is this thing? So one of the pshatim in the Medrash is it means that tzfar, the deer and the hinds of the gazelles, means the doyer shel shmad, means the generation when they forced Jews at the point of death to do avodah zarah or other aveiros. V'zel shaynai. This is the Maharal's words. That the Medrash means, even if it comes a time when Jews will get threatened with death, when the nations will threaten us and say, we're going to kill you with very difficult suffering, pain, torture. Lo yiyu yoitzim. They should not go out of exile. V'lo yiyu mishani mozeh. They should not violate the terms of exile, change exile. V'chein ha'pirish eitzel kol echad v'echad mishvuos halalu. And so is the meaning of all these other oaths. And we're going to get back to these words. This is very important, but we'll just skip over this for a minute. V'yesh lahavin zeh. We have to understand this. Iriyan sham ba'arichas dvarav. So Maharal goes on. He means before this. This is the last shtickle in Chaf Daled, but before that he goes on ba'arichas. V'nimzil lefi dvarav. Comes out according to the Maharal. Shaloi daim asher aser latzeis min hagalas af b'rshus. He's making a kal v'chomer here. He's saying this shiloh that he asked in Siman Yud was whether Jews have a right to go out of Galus when, let's say, the government lets them, right? Yeah. The government makes a Balfour declaration so that everyone could come.
Yeah.
Well, here the Maharal is going a step further. Not only if they let us, even if they force us, we're not allowed to do it.
Wow.
So he says, Loi da, it's not enough masha aser. It's not only that it's aser, latzeis min hagalas af b'rshus, ela afim yachufu aleim. Even if the government would say a Balfour declaration that you have to go up. B'kfiyah shal misa, and they would punish us with death if we don't go up. Rahman al-Itzlan. Gam la is aser lahavor al Shevuos, halalu. Even then it's aser to transgress the Shevuos. K'moy b'kfiyah shal shma. Just like if they would force you to do avodah zarah or some other aveir. Rahman al-Itzlan. V'nir mimrutzas dvarav. It seems from a quick reading of the Maharal, that he's going on that Shvuah also, not only on the Shvuah of maybe Dechikas Akates or Merida Bumos.
Yeah.
And the main point that the Maharal makes here, that he makes the Shvuah into an Indian of Yaharg Val Yavor, that you be killed rather than transgress. So why should that be? I'm going to explain later what the reason for that is. But just to talk about that a little now, that's what I have all these Maamar for. The Rebbe is going to say, the Kitzer Nimratz, he's going to say that being over on the Shevuos is an Indian of Kfira. And Kfira is similar to Avodah Zarah.
The same. I actually saw the Rabbi, the Rebbe quote, or the Rabbi goes to great length to explain how serious it is, and how the Rambam was wrong when he said he could walk into a mosque. Because a mosque is a place of kfira, and that falls under run into a house of Avodah, the house of kfira. Not just the Ramban, but the
Rambam has Yigeres Hashmad, where he says there that a Jew could pretend to be a Muslim to save his life.
Which the Ramban writes against. All that he writes very against the Rambam on this.
Right.
Not just the Ramban, though. Many Acharonim dispute the Rambam on this, pointing out the same point.
Fear is like Avodah Zarah.
Yes, and unlike, however, Avodah Zarah, that each R is gone, but Kfira exists. It's why run into a house of Avodah Zarah and Kfira, just go further. Moshe actually paskent, one is allowed to teach as a college professor about the history of Avodah Zarah. Because there's no worries that one will be overpowered with the HR for it. One will teach Kfira about Brias Ha'olam, because that is the HR for. Because the HR for Avodah Zarah is gone, one can be allowed to teach about the history of Avodah Zarah.
Okay.
This is how far it's non-existent in the Yitzhar.
So going up there to Israel and being over on the Shevuos is like a statement of Kfir. So that's why the Maharal gives a din of Yaharg Val Yavor. Now I'm really jumping the gun. Before I would talk about the reasons, I really want to talk about what, because you always have to say what and then why. So first, let's get the what. What did the Maharal say? According to this Siman here, Satmar Rebbe is learning that the Maharal means that a nation is forcing Jews at gunpoint, basically, to go there to Israel. Okay, which sounds a little funny because it means that the same nation has to rule over the Jews in Chutz La'aretz and in Eretz Yisrael, and that same nation has to get us to go up to Eretz Yisrael. Like, let's say England, let's say all the Jews in the world were in England, and they would make the Balfour Declaration. They would say every Jew has to leave England and go to Eretz Yisrael if they happen to own England, Eretz Yisrael at the same time. Right? That's the only tzir that the Rebbe could mean in the Siman Chaf. However, it's not so posh that the Maharal means that. It could be the Maharal means that if a nation is persecuting the Jews here in the Chutz La'aretz and they're killing them, to get away from that killing, a Yid might want to go to Eretz Yisrael and be oil v'choim and fight against the nation that lives there, and to save their life by doing that. So that's the Maharal's answering. So according to that, this raya of Siman Chaf would fall away, because his whole raya was Kal v'chomer. If they force you to go there to Israel, you're not allowed to listen. Kal v'chomer if they let you go. Yeah. So let's say England lets you go, and the Palestinians don't let you come, right? So then you're you're still being oila shaloi b'shus. You're going to
you can't do kibbutz golios before it's time.
Right. You can't do kibbutz golios, but the Rebbe is trying to provide even with a permission. I'm saying that according to that pshat. Now, that pshat that I just said, that one nation forces Jews to leave and then they go to Eretz Yisrael and fight the country there, that pshat is brought by the Rebbe himself in Siman Lamed Gimel.
Yes.
Take a look. And this is in only the second edition by Vayoel Moshe, which is the one we're using. Not the first printing. The first printing he didn't say this. The second printing he says over here, Lamed Gimel, right in the middle of the Amud. He says, Hagam she'ef shelafarish. It could be we could explain.
I'm sorry. Oh, let's say okay.
B'divrei Maharal, we could explain the Maharal. She'ein kavanasei shel umois yachufu es Yisrael v'mista shel kol inuyim kashim. It could be that it doesn't mean the nations will force us to go there to Israel with all these kinds of suffering and torture. And to make ourselves a country in Eretz Yisrael. It's very hard to believe nations would ever make us do that. Even if they make killing and torture in their lands, the aim will have eitzah, and the Jews have no other eitzah, no other recourse, only to leave Galus and make themselves a country, mikomakum aser. Even then it's aser. Shehu kedin shmad, because that's like shmad. Even if, let's say the guy's coming to kill you, and he's not saying convert, he's saying just coming to kill you because you're a Jew, and then you run away and you convert in order to save your life, that's also aser, that's also shmad.
And that fully includes saying I'm a Muslim, because the halakha says even when you say I'm a guy, applies to any guy. That's another just major disproof of the Rambam, who had this horrible mistaken view that only Avodah Zarah is the issue.
I think some Jews in World
say that about the Rambam. Wait, what?
Some Jews in World War II were able to get saved by saying they're Muslim. They said the bris milah. At the same time, some Muslims were get killed because they thought they were Jewish.
You can't say you're a guy to save your life. You can pretend to be a guy. You can walk through, dress up like a guy, and walk through, but you can't say I'm a guy, because once you say that, it's like you're kafir.
And don't worry, the Rambam was disputed by many things he said, not just this.
Because there's this is the other pshat in the Maharal.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, this answers a kasha that the Rebbe himself asked in Siman Lamed Beis. I'm not going to read it inside, but he asks that even by the Shalosh Averis Kamuris, if a person does it be'oinus, say a guy comes and says, do Avodah Zarah or I'll shoot you, and the Yid does Avodah Zarah, he's not chayav misa. Why? Because he did it be'oinus. Even though he wasn't supposed to, and it was the din of Kiddush Hashem, but he's not chayav misa. So the Rebbe asks, so then why is there such a big punishment for the Shalosh Shevuos? And why does the Maharal say that it's a very dangerous thing to be over on them, even in such a case? If it's honest, it's honest. It's not your fault. So, but if you say like this pshat, that they're persecuting you here, and to get away from that, you run over here, then it comes out that you're doing it on your own. So in such a case, there would be a punish. Let's say a person does, it's a din of misrapim, that you're not allowed to be misrapim with Avodah Zarah. So there, it is chayav misa. If someone's misrapim, if someone gets sick, and the doctor says, you're sick, okay? And then he finds out that if he does Avodah Zarah, he'll save his life. Takes a certain medicine that's made from an Avodah Zarah, not allowed to. That's nenash. That the Rambam says, give him the Ein Sharoy, because it was his own choice to do it.
And just to say it further, there's in fact a halacha, just to say, another way we see that kfir as equal to Avodah Zarah, that if a guy tells a person, be mechal Shabbos, to indicate you don't believe there is mitzvah of Shabbos, then the Yerek Val Yavar.
Right.
And even if a guy says, say that there is no mitzvah to keep Shabbos, it's Yerek Val Yavar.
Right.
Any form of kfir of Avodah Zarah, and more so, we learn that one has to give up his life rather than sit in front of 10 Jews, because that one is in essence affirming Hashem is not holy. Another way of pointing how kfir is equal to Avodah Zarah. That's why in front of 10 Jews, you reach a maximum of Chilul Hashem, is that you don't believe anymore. And we can even say like this, if all Jews gather back in Israel at once, it's all visible to all Jews who do the sin. So it's visible to everybody, so that's sinning in front of 10 Jews. Which all Zion who are sitting in front of all of them and see their sin.
Well, you're going to ask me.
It's also like Kochiyot Sumyandi. I think you mentioned that in your book in the first steps of the flag. It's like Kochiyot Sumyandi, like,
that's a kfir itself, to say that you're the one who made it happen, not Hashem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, Rabbi Yonasan said the same thing about even abominations of the road.
Yeah.
Who came first? Maral or Rabbi Yonasan?
The Maharal, yeah, the Maharal was first.
And Rabbi Vayoel Moshe, when he's willing that even if the Sultan of Turkey gives permission.
Yeah, I didn't see that inside yet. I don't know. Okay, could be. But we're not going to see Chavav yet because I still have more things to say on this Maharal.
Okay.
So the first thing was that what was the Maharal saying? Either Siman Chaf the Pshat or Siman Lam Gimel. Two different ways to learn. Then there's the why. Why does he say it? So the Rebbe learns because of Kfir. That's what we've been discussing.
Yeah.
So here's the second possibility for why he says it. Take a look. This is the Hagos by Rabbi Yeshua David Hartman. He's a person, I think, as far as I know, he's around today. He's the person who wrote this Maharal with the Hagos on the bottom. All the Sefer Maharal. They have it in the Chaim Berlin Library. And
yeah, I don't like this one, Haral, because it's too much commentary. It makes you forget the main part.
okay, but this is an important point.
Okay.
With the Sefer Vayoel Moshe, move it over so you can see also.
Yeah.
Amud Mem Daled, which is not what we're up to yet, but he says, Kosev u'v'ikra davar, masha kosev ha'Maharal zal shalavor aleilu l'shvuos hu b'yahar g'al yavor. He says, this that the Maharal says, that being over on the Shevuos is yahar g'al yavor. V'yafim yechufu oisam v'misa shal kol minei inuyim kashim lates min ha'galus, asturim lates min ha'galus, mamish kedin shma. This that he makes it mamish like one of the three Averis. So, tzarech la'avin ha'makor. You have to know what the makor for this Maharal is. Mehechon lakach zeh Maharal. Haloi isser shvuos eino b'yahar g'al yavor. Just transgressing an oath is not Yahar Vayavar, right? Uvechol Torah Kula Kasuv V'chai Bohem. All the other Averis, except for the three Averis, is V'chai Bohem. You do the Aver and you live. Zulas Oisna Gimel Averis. But it's Dargil Rash V'chesdamim. V'lama Nischayv V'chas Hashem al Zeh. Why are they Chayv? Given She'enam Gimel Averis. Okay, so Vayin Sham, he says the Sat Rebbe talks about it. But he says his own teretz now. Ha'en Nireh L'yashiv Kushiyastai. Can't read this word. Can you read it on yours? Didn't come out so good on my copy.
Shahacha.
Shahacha.
I read.
Shahacha. I read that here we're talking Shemeikara the Dina Hashvua Nas Nesasa Af Beoifen Shiu Kruchim Begalos Yisurim V'Yurim Kashim. That here the Shvua was made originally in such a case when there would be killing and suffering. Galus, by its essence, entails those things. You can't say that the shvua was given only to be mekayim when it's going to be safe to live in Galus. But when it's going to be dangerous, then we could be over on it. Because then you never keep the shvua. The whole shvua was given in such a case. He says, Ve'ein kan hanido in machmas ister shvua. It's not that we're being over on the ister shvua of Hilchas Shevuos, shehu b'yahar g'al yavor. El hanidan kan hu b'toichen hashvua. We're talking here about the subject of the shvua, shehu nemer afal tzir zeh. That the shvua was for sure said even in this case, because that's what it entails by its nature. It says shekolo inyan shel v'chai bohem. This whole din that in Kol HaTorah Kula we say do the avera and don't get killed. Nemer kasher mitzvah misviyemis shenemer lav davka al shachas sakana. That you have a mitzvah like Shabbos, let's say. Shabbos you keep every week, you don't get in danger for keeping Shabbos. But one time it comes up that someone
says... financial losses happen very often from Shabbos, and you can't say only on financial you don't keep Shabbos.
Right.
In America, like back in the day, from the beginning of Jews in Israel until the 1950s, there was, no Saturday we have today, and Jews would lose their job if they would keep Shabbos, and they would say, but Shabbos only applies when it's financially good for me.
Right.
And it wasn't the case.
But now you see it is not the case, because Shabbos does entail financial loss by its nature.
Yeah.
And therefore, no matter what job you have, you can't work on Shabbos.
So you can't say, I only do it then, you only keep Shabbos then. Or with Yom Tov. Many people say, I don't get paid for Yom Tov in our time. Or, or my company makes me suffer, for Yom Tov. But you can't say, I only keep Yom Tov when it's good for me.
Right. But on Misa, on, Pikuch Nefesh, then we say, be Mechal Shabbos, because Shabbos was only given for cases when it's safe to keep Shabbos.
It's not constant.
Right.
It only happens every now and then, whereas financial losses only happen from Shabbos, especially true when Judaism first started in America. So when a certain mitzvah is goramas l'misa, this time causes misa, causes death, then I'll kach amirin shamitzvah loy nemra k'chiyav. The mitzvah was not an obligation, kasher he goramas l'toitzah ha'afucha mi b'chai b'hem, when it causes death. However, kasher mitzvah nisparta
Nisparsha, I can't read it from here.
Nisparta.
Nisparta lehedya.
Nisprata lahadi.
Right.
Made part for this.
It was explicitly given.
Made part.
Shehi oisekes betzira shel.
Grimas.
Let me see this one.
Grimas.
This copy came out better. Shel grimas misa. It was given in a specific tzir which causes death. Ma shaykh litan al kach b'chai b'hem. How could you say b'chai b'hem?
Like a Mechamas Mitzvah, for example. Well, the same design is to Mechamas Mitzvah, but Mechamas Mitzvah does entail danger too.
Right, so he doesn't bring this, but the Milchus Chinuch has a famous piece on this where he says that's what Mechamas Mitzvah entails danger and still.
Oh, how could you? But that's the way the mitzvah works. Then you can't say only when it's danger. Because Zion is using Mechamas Mitzvah as a proof to their ideas, but as proof the opposite. They say Golos is dangerous, but isn't Mechamas dangerous too?
The Chiyal mitzvahs Kiddush Hashem. So he gives an example of Kiddush Hashem, which is like other mitzvahs, not the 3 Averis. Let's say Kiddush Hashem of 10 Jews seeing you be Mechal Shabbos in front of a goy. The Chiyal mitzvahs Kiddush Hashem shenischayv ulimster as nafsheni be'oifanim usiyomim, that sometimes a yid has to be moist in nefesh. Atu naksha sham. Should we ask a kasha there? Mimasha nemer b'chai bohem. No, that's the whole point of the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem. So here also, that's what the Torah said when it said, keep
all
the Shevuos
the design is to say about Mechamas Mitzvah, how they try to bring rise, how it applies in our time, when it proves the opposite. How it doesn't say Mechamas is dangerous, but then when the mitzvah itself has this danger, you'll never keep it then. So the same thing with goals, it entails persecution itself. And they try to prove their ideas.
Okay, now the third idea I have for why the Maharal would say that this is Yehar Gal Yavor is on page 3 of the Maamar Kohen here. It's the Maharal in Chedushei Haggadah.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I feel like Chedushei Haggadah, yeah.
Okay, recently discovered manuscript of the Maharal, which was published about 50 years ago, and he says like this: Shevuos halalu v'chulu pirish ka'asher Hashem yisborach gazer hagolus al Yisrael. Hashem made a gzeira that there would be a galus. That galus hazeh eino lefi haseder shiroi liyos boilam. It's not a natural type of thing that the world should have. Ki loy timtzeh she'uma yeh goyla v'yoshvim b'soich eretz uma acheres. You don't find other nations just in exile, living under other nations permanently like that, long term. Rak kol uma v'uma hi tachas rishusah. Every nation has its own government. The Hashem yisborach gazer hagalus al Yisrael, but Hashem made this gzeira on us. The galus hazeh eino lefi seder haroy sheyeh boilam leficha chaya Hashem yisborach gazer kiyum al galusam. Hashem had to make a gzeira of permanence to keep the galus in place. Same thing as Netzach Israel. V'im loy haisa gzeira hazois al davar shu keneged haseder ein loy kiyum ki haseder goyver alav. If there wouldn't have been this gzeira, then it would have been natural. The way of the world would have overcome it. Okay, so Mnezeh hayu gimel Shevuos klimer gimel gzeiros. These Shevuos, he learns, are not real oaths, they're more like natural gzeiros of the world. Hashem made it that the world, it's impossible that there should be a bittul to the exile itself. And there can't be too much. Nations can't persecute us too much. Can't be too little. They continue in their status quo. If they go up as a wall, that's taking away the galus. Galus means separation, spreading apart. They gather themselves together. That's against the galus, that's taking away. The nation shouldn't persecute us too much. That's adding on. And not rebelling, that's completely reversing the whole idea of subservience. They don't accept their yoke on alehem. En kan galus. These things keep the galus in place. So then he goes on, he talks about the kates and the end of the Maharal, just read the last line. Understand these things very well. He says any change in these matters would be a very, very dangerous thing.
Well, when he says that people think it's safer to end all when otherwise.
So this is what I'm getting to. So now we can understand what's this thing about Yehar Gal Yavor. Yehar Gal Yavor is do an Aveira and save your life. Here, Maharal is saying doing this Aveira is more dangerous than whatever danger you're in Chutz La'aretz, in Misa, in Urim Kashim, whatever's happening to us. It can't be as bad as what would happen if we would be over on the Shevuos. So it comes out that it's not a din of Yahar B'Al Yavur, it's a din of be safe. Just Hashem's telling us how to be safe.
And our time proves a point further with nuclear weapons. How people tell me, oh, America is alcohol, but you know what? America has 10,000 nuclear missiles to fire in Israel. If all Jews run there. And with Russia,
and other countries
UK,
have them too.
And France, with America, based on rumors, not any proofs. But with there are no proofs. Israel never acknowledged it, and neither have been found penny or see where they keep them. But America,
even if they have, what's the point? What does it help them?
But America, Russia, the UK, and France together have over 19,000. So all four of you can easily launch a missile at Israel if all of them run to Israel. So it's for sure in our time the case. Because one nuclear weapon can cause a holocaust in a split second.
You know, I read that. You know this? The Siman. I read a book. The Siman. They have something called the Samson option. If they ever believe they will be run over by the Arabs, they will take their nuclear weapons. They will blow themselves up with their nuclear weapons and destroy the world with it, rather than be taken over by the Arabs. They called the Samson option. After
Golden Mayor said it, or Moshe Dayan, Golden Mayor, one of them said, if we go, we're taking the world with us. So we're taking.
Well, so they really created a suicide plan already. Well.
I don't know if it's for sure the quote was in that Lashon, but he said basically.
What's it called, that plan?
The Samson option.
Wow.
They had, during the Yom Kippur War, they had 2 nuclear weapons pointed at Damascus and Cairo.
Only claimed to be, they had weapons, but other than nuclear though.
And they had orders to fire them if things got too bad. Now the Arab countries didn't have weapons, but Russia did, and Russia was backing them.
Yeah, but the Samson plan is called?
The Samson option. Basically.
Wow, so Israel's ready to suicide plan.
And like people, the Masada, that's why they glorify Masada.
Yeah.
Well, and they already have a suicide plan, and people are so ignorant and think Israel's always coming to the win. And they have a suicide plan.
Okay, now.
Wow, suicide bombers themselves.
So basically, so far we had 2 pshatim in what the Maharal is saying, Chaf and Lam and Gimel, and 3 pshatim in why he's saying it. That's Kfira or V'hachi Chai B'Rachmana from the Hagahos of the Maharal, and the 3rd pshat is that it's the safest way. Now take a look. I just want to talk a little bit about the last words of the Maharal. He says, "V'chein hapirish eitzel kol echad ve'echad mishvuos halalu." Right?
Yeah.
So the reason I'm talking about this is because there's a person named Rabbi Menachem Kasher. You may have heard of him. He wrote a Sefer called Hatkufa Gedolah to attack.
Yeah, Vayoel Yosef brings him down.
To attack the Satmar Rebbe. He's a what?
Gerer.
Yeah. Okay. Could be.
He's a what? He's a what?
A Gerer Chassid.
Oh.
So he wrote a Sefer Hatkufa Gedolah to attack Satmar Rebbe.
Yeah, which Vayoel Yosef uses as proof.
Okay, and one of his prakim there is about the Maharal, and
he had trouble. He had trouble answering the Maharal, explaining it.
Yeah, he had trouble, and we're going to see he doesn't really have a good shot in the end. But his attack on the Rebbe is based on the fact that the Rebbe misquoted the Maharal. So let's see what happens here. Take a look first before you look at the page 4. Take a look at page 5. Here's the real Maharal. Maharal inside. Just look at the last few lines for now.
Yeah.
He says. The oid pirish b'dorish shel shman roitzelomer af even you roitzim lohami so islam b'inui kasha. So there's one change. The Rebbe says inuyim kashim. He says inui kasha. All right, big deal, right? He says lo yu yoitzim. They won't go out. V'lo yu mishanim, but they won't deviate. B'chein hapirish eitzel kol echad v'echad. So is the explanation of every one. What's every one? The Rebbe says v'chein hapirish eitzel kol echad v'echad mishvuos halalu. He puts in 2 words here to explain. I think the Rebbe's intent was just to explain the Maharal, not to quote him. This is the pirush of each of those Shevuos, because the Maharal says, we're going to get to it exactly what he means, but now, Kasher had in front of him the first edition of Vayoel Moshe. Turn the page 6. Yeah. This is the first printing of Vayoel Moshe.
Yeah.
Siman Chaf, pretty much the same, except here he says, V'chein hapirish eitzel kol shvua u'shvua mishvuos halalu. He changes it even more here. V'yesh lo havin zeh. All right. So the Maharal really said v'chein hapirish eitzel kol echad v'echad. The first edition, the Rebbe said it means shvuos. The second edition, he's also saying that. He's just saying it a little bit less. He put in kol echad v'echad, and then he put in shvuos halalu.
Rabbi Simcha Klein Amos Ablatzma answered him.
That what?
No, it was the answer to Kufa Gedolah.
They answered the whole Sefer, they answered this point about the Maharal.
I don't know. You heard that? I must have the last
Yeah,
one.
I have the Sefer. I must say last one. In any case, okay, so take a look now back at page 4. Maamar page 4.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see the measures inside and try to figure out what these words Kain appear Shet Kolecha B'Yachad. If you have time, it's a very interesting subject. Just to see what it means. Hishpati Eschem Elois Yerushalayim. B'ma hishpion. With what did Hashem make the Jews swear? By what? What are we swearing by? By the deer and the gazelles? What's deer and gazelles? So Rabbi Lezer Omer Hishpion B'Shamayim V'Aretz. That it means the heaven and earth. B'tzva'os b'tzva shel ma'ala u'b'tzva shel mata. He learns tzva'os means the upper worlds, the upper host, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the tzva shel mata. Vayoel Moshe b'tzva'os. That's what it means. Tzva'os. Oy ba'alos hasada, zu chayas hasada. Okay, I'm skipping ahead. The next man the Omer says Rabbi Chanina bar Papa, Rabbi Yehuda bar Rabbi Siman, Rabbi Chanina Omer hishpion be'avois v'iimois. That this Shevuos was by the fathers and the avos, the Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. And then I don't have time to read everything now, but he explains how those come out from the word Tzva'os and Alos Hasada. Another man the Omer says it means the Shvatim. Another man the Omer says it means Mila. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Siman, Omer Hishpion b'Mila. And Rabbanan Omer, the Rabbanan, this is the one that we're talking about, Hishpion b'Dorah Shel Shmad. He made them swear by the generation of Shmad, which l'chayr is a reference to the time of Hadrian, when he made the Jews go through all kinds of punishments for not being over on Torah. And it says here what they did. It says, Rabbi Chia bar Abba said, if a person would tell me to give up my life for Kiddush Hashem, I would do it, but not to suffer torture. That I couldn't take. And then it says they took iron balls and heated them up and put them under their armpits. They did all kinds of tortures. Kitzer, the Medrash says these 4 meanings of what the Shevuos is on: the Shemaim V'Aretz, Avos V'Imois, and the Shvatim, and Mila, and Dorei Shel Shmad. Okay, so on that the Maharal, on page 5 in the Maamar, he explains, and I don't have time to read it inside now, but the Maharal says that these...
I've read it before.
You read it before, but I'll just say it now for the benefit of everyone who's listening on tape, whatever. The Maharal says that these things, Hashem was saying, just like the Shemaim V'Aretz doesn't change, you don't change. But then on that there's a kasha. Everyone has a kasha, so the next one takes over.
Because Shemaim is natural, but we tell you not natural. It was by Avos who are in Gullus.
So the Avos, right? So the Avos kept Hashem's will even though it was not natural. But then what's the kasha?
There's no pain with that.
There's no pain. There's no suffering.
And there's no integration with it. So we have meal which a person gets pain through, and it's integrated to him. But a meal is only a little cut. So why if gold gets so harsh that they want to rip our flesh with iron razors? So even then it's usher.
Exactly, that's the Maharal. So the last stage is that even a lot of shvichas damim is also not an answer. It's also even ba'ofen zeh. Okay, then fet the Maharal v'im toimar doyer shel shmad atzmon b'ma hishpion shelo yishanu. Good, he's making them swear by the Dorei Shel Shmad, but why the Dorei Shel Shmad, which is Hadrian's generation, Rabbi Shua ben Hanani's generation? How did they know not to be over on the exile because of the persecution, right?
Yeah. What
was he mashpia them? You can't, where do you get started? Circular reasoning. So the Maharal answers, Ve'en zeh kasha, ki pirushay b'Dorei Shel Shmad hainu b'midah shahaya l'Dorei Shel Shmad. He's making them swear by the midah shahayu dveikim ba Dorei Shel Shmad. So this could mean one of 2 things. Either it could mean that he's making them swear because they were Makayim the Galus even then, even though they didn't have to, so we're swearing by them. Or he could mean that they were Makayim, let's say, the mitzvahs even then. They kept all the mitzvahs, like Mila, let's say Hadrian didn't let them keep Mila, they did Mila, they got killed. So because of that Mesiras Nefesh that they had for a mitzvah, we're swearing by to have the same type of Mesiras Nefesh for Galus. Okay. Then he says, the oid pirushai b'Dorei Shel Shmad. Now he has a second shot. Dorei Shel Shmad means rotzalem ra'avim yu rotzim lahami soisam. This is what the Rabbi brings. Okay, so what he means by this is even in an oifen when the galus reaches this state of Shmad, even then he's mashpia them. In other words, it's not an Indian of a hatfasa that he's being mashpia them by something. Swear by this that you'll do this. Just like this, so also that. It's not that. It's that swear even in this matzav, even in this conditions, you have to keep the oath. Okay? So then when he says V'cheina pirush eitzel kol echad v'echad, this is the meaning of all the other Shevuos, according to the Rabbi, or according to the other way to learn is V'cheina pirush eitzel kol echad v'echad means that's the pirush of all the other man de'amrim in the Medrash. Each man de'amar says a different thing. Shemayim v'aretz, right? Always v'yimois. It means he's making them swear even in that case. But it's kind of hard to understand. What does it mean? Swear even in the case of Shemayim v'aretz. What does that mean? Swear. If you're up in the sky, swear. What does it mean? V'yesh lahavim, that's why the Maamar lines up. V'yesh lahavim. We have to understand how those things could mean those things.
Yeah.
Now, we could add our own shot. We could say maybe it's because, today wars are fought in the sky, so that's Shemayim v'aretz. You could say the different creative pshatim. Obviously, Mohis, to visit the Mars Machpelah, you can't be all around the shul. You could say different things, but the Maharal didn't answer the question. It just ends off with Sarachin.
Yes.
Okay, but the Rebbe, because of that problem, that's why he stuck in the words Mishvuos Halal, that the Eitzel Kol Echad V'Yachad means these oaths. Yeah. Now what Kasher does here is, take a look what he does. He makes fun of it that the Rebbe stuck in a couple words here, but then he himself doesn't have a pshat. Take a look at page 7.
Yeah.
First he brings down someone named Rabbi Shragafeibel Frank, who says that basically he agrees to the Rebbe that it's Yeharg Val Yavor, but he says it's not Yeharg Val Yavor on Shelo Yal B'Choyma, it's Yeharg Val Yavor on Shelo Yilmedu B'Umas.
Except the Maharal openly said that includes Shelo Yal B'Choma.
Where does the Maharal say that?
No, he openly said the end of goals in all three ways, meaning Shelo Yal B'Choma. Well, if you read the whole chapter, you'll see the Maharal with that.
That's the real point, that the Maharal, this whole chapter is talking about reversing the state
in any way possible.
Eretz Yisrael and being out of our land.
But the Maharal does say there are three ways to make a change. There's add, subtract, and nullify completely.
That's what we read inside before, yeah.
So in getting exiles is subtracting, and rebelling against the nation, nullifying completely, and Shevuos is adding.
Good. That was in the Ksubas. Okay. Then he brings another shot down here. He says some expert in the Maharal told him that it means that they shouldn't be moired even when they're causing actual shmad, actual conversion, forced conversion. Yeah. Then I skipped ahead a few pages to where Kasher himself says his pshat, and what his pshat is just like I don't think he's even saying a pshat. Take a look. Page 8, highlighted. Yeah. He says basically the Maharal when he says that he's shpiyam b'dorei shel shmad, he's not being mashpiyah them to keep the galus at all. It has nothing to do with galus. He just says that it's he was mashpiyah them to keep the Torah even in the matzav of shmad.
And he didn't say a word. He just said galus, Maharal. I read that 24 about keeping galus, not keeping the Torah.
The oid yifarish is b'dorei shel shmad v'talemer afim yuroitzim. Okay, so he says klomer rav guvrayu, that they have a great strength to to be moiser nefesh. Kamash kosav yifas Torah shemizeh hayafei Torah shemizeh roim anu mesiris nafsham. We see their mesiris nefesh from that. The kiddush Hashem uvi kedushastam hishpiyam. He was mashpiyah them by their own kedusha. V'lachein loy maskir Maharal amila galus b'pirish deh. The Maharal doesn't mention anything about galus. So what is he talking about? He's not talking about galus.
This is Mamar's tipshus.
All right. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is what he's trying to get out of it, that the Maharal doesn't mean galus.
I mean, the whole thing is foolishness, because there always does the galus, he's twisting everything that's written there openly.
The whole Sefer is about galus, and the whole parak is about it. One last point here, we mentioned the Maharal in Agadas, that he says that it's a gzeira, it's not an oath, right? So the Zionists also chapped on that to make a teretz to get out of the Shalosh Shevuos. They said, okay, it's not really an isser, it's just a gzeira.
But gzeira is a burden we keep. That's very, very, very nice.
That kind of gzeira is a law. But he's talking about gzeira in terms of like nature. Hashem made gzeira of gravity, let's say. That's what the Shevuos are according to the Maharal. It's something that's a natural part of the world.
The Maharal says it's not natural, that's the problem. Maharal, it's not natural, so
it's not natural, but he says that Hashem made it natural in order to keep it in place.
But obviously, it's only you think it goes not natural, so you can't even compare it to my guards. That too is off.
Okay,
that too is very much off.
Let's just see what the man says, and then I'll tell you what's wrong with it. This is the Aviner. This is Reb Shlomo Aviner, his Sefer, where he slugs up the Rebbe, and basically he says here he quotes the Maharal, Kach Pirush Maharal Shekasev Shashem Bisporach Gazer Davar Zeh Al Yisrael Shiu Begalus Lachein Gazar Shelo Yilmedu B'Mos Olam. And he says, Maharal Einu Mishtamish B'Bitui Hishpia. He doesn't call it Shvua El Gazar. It's just Gzeira. Shekach Kava Seder HaMetzias. That's the Metzias. So in Mela, the point of this is that V'chein Pirush Rav Kasher, that's the, Kasher we just read before, Divrei Maharal, and the Hemshech of that Sefer, he brings this, Hashem is preventing us from going up as a chayma, and now here's the punchline, when it becomes possible to do so, then Siman Shabbatal Gzeir, that's a Siman that the Gzeir is bottle. That's their whole Mahalach.
Yeah.
And then they even say that the Satmar Rebbe didn't see this Maharal, so that's why he didn't know about it.
He read he
because it came out after. No, he didn't see the one about Chidush Haggadus because it came out after Vayoel Moshe was printed, so he didn't know about it, and whatever. But really, this thing that they're saying that it's a Siman Shabbat Gzeira is far from clear, because how can you tell by looking at the Metzias that okay, the Gzeira is bottle, it's all safe and everything to go there. It's as far as we can see, it's pretty unsafe.
There's wars, constant wars. Miller even said the city solves nothing, as he said, there's constant wars.
Constant wars and constant danger to the Yidden in other parts of the world, and this is not a solution. So to say that this is to say, okay, we see that it worked, there must be that it worked.
In fact, the present-day anti-Semitism in democratic countries in Europe with guaranteed freedom of religion are all rooted in this that Jews want to be good for Israel, not the country they live in, and they want their country to be good for Israel.
And the other point about this is that the Maharal is saying that it's dangerous to be over on the Shvuah. Even if it's not a Shvuah, it's dangerous to do it. So now, let's say you would go back, you tell a Zionist today, well, good, you bring this Maharal, Rabbi Wiener, you bring this Maharal, okay, but what about the people that started Zionism? Did they know about this, that it was going to succeed? You look back today and you say, oh, it succeeded. Well, they didn't know it was going to succeed, so they were foolish for trying to be over on the Gzeira.
Yeah.
You have to admit that. And I don't think any Zionist today who brings this Maharal is going to go back and say that all the religious Zionists from 100 years ago were all fools. So it's an internally inconsistent argument. Hashem doesn't make a Gzeira on us and say, okay, go ahead and try to be over on it and see what happens.
More so, it's not natural, Maharal said. It's not natural. And because it's not natural, you can't compare it to nature. And there it doesn't fit because it's above nature, the whole thing.
Right. Okay, and we'll see more about the Maharal and Hemshech of Vayoel Moshe.
Very fruitful.